Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel and welcome to your full moon in Libra astrology predictions. This is a full moon that is not a simple one. It's more on the complex side. It's a full moon I've talked about since last year, but I am very excited about it in a sense that we're going to definitely take action with this full moon, and in the wherever we have Libra in our charts. The full moon is happening at 23 degrees in the sign of Libra, and it's of course is going to be in an opposition to the sun, but also to Chiron, which is in conjunction to the sun in the sign of Aries. That's why this full moon might bring to the surface some old wounds, some old deep-rooted feelings, traumas, experiences that we've had in the past. They might be brought to the surface, and of course, um, you know, those will be talked about and they have to be confronted and they have to be healed eventually. That's what Chiron does. It's the wounded healer. We get hurt and then we become a better person because of it. Now, this full moon is also in a square to Mars, which is in the sign of Cancer. And that's why I'm talking about action taking. I feel like we're going to take some decisions here. We're going to have a need and desire to protect something in the areas of our lives where Cancer is, or that is ruled by Cancer. And there's confrontation that is happening here, a need to protect something, a need to confront something. And it's all going to depend on your own zodiac sign. The ruler of the full moon, Venus, is transiting the sign of Pisces, and on this exact day, thank God, it is going direct in the sky, and it's going to be in a conjunction to Saturn, the North Node, and Mercury. All the situations that are happening during this full moon are probably very fated, very karmic in nature, because we have the involvement of the North Node, which is karmic. We have the involvement of Saturn, which is the karmic planet. And, that's why it gives a fated sense and feeling to the entire situations that we may be dealing with during this full moon and the next 2 weeks after this full moon. I do think that there may either be separations from situations, people, the past, and things like that. Again, it's going to depend on your sign, on what areas is going to be affected for you. But there might be a need to separate from these things, or to even work harder after certain boundaries have been set, after certain structures, and after certain decisions that are very level-headed with a conjunction to Mercury are set as well. I think that there is some intense emotions that could be running high during the full moon, but Mercury is in conjunction to Saturn, and I think we're gonna have the mental clarity that we need. Now, both Mercury and Saturn are still in the shadow area of the sky, but they're going direct now. So we're definitely going to be taking action in whatever we needed to resolve during the retrograde period, but not only. So that's why I think this full moon is probably one of the most important ones for 2025. It's going to be intense, like I said, but very, very necessary. Even though we might have like explosive moments, I think those are important sometimes, especially if you're somebody that likes to stay silent and not confront things. I think that's going to take a different route with this full moon, that even the individuals that usually stay silent, they're also going to speak up and will confront whoever they think, they're doing them wrong, or whatever situation that could be happening. Again, it's going to depend on your own zodiac sign, so make sure to listen to your sign as well. So I think, big things are going to come out of this full moon. I am excited for it because, as I've said it in other videos, I think the biggest changes in my life have happened with intense full moons, intense aspects, squares, and oppositions. Like, that's when things happen way faster. It's not comfortable at all. I'm Taurus rising, and I know that I love comfort, but they're not comfortable. They definitely take you outside of your box, but they help you achieve your goals faster and get where you are supposed to be getting way sooner. And like I said, we have fated things happening. That's why I think this full moon is going to take us to the right direction that we need to be in this period of our lives at this time, at this moment, and whoever we need to be with as well. Okay, before you start listening to your sign, remember that I'm a Western astrologer and I follow tropical zodiac. You can listen to your rising sign, sun sign, and moon sign. Those will be the most relatable to you. Of course, if you're lucky to know your time, that's how you're going to find your rising sign and sometimes your moon sign as well. Yeah, I think that is it for the intro here. Now, without further ado, let's start with the 12 zodiac signs. Hello, dear Aries suns, moons, and risings. Welcome to your full moon in Libra astrology predictions. This full moon is happening on April 13, and it's happening exactly at 23 degrees in the sign of Libra, in an opposition to the Sun, of course, and Chiron in the sign of Aries. And it's also creating a square to Mars, which is currently transiting the sign of Cancer. The ruler of this eclipse is Venus, as we know, and Venus on the same day turns direct in the sky. And it's still going to be in a conjunction to Saturn, the North Node, and Mercury. So we have so many activations with this full moon, meaning that it's probably going to be an impactful one. And especially for you, Aries, because it is happening in an angular house. And it's most importantly affecting your long-term relationships with other people, your contracts and agreements that you have in place, and also your marriage partner, business partner, if you have one. I feel like for a lot of you, there's going to be some sort of understanding when it comes to your identity and realizing that you are basically a separate individual compared to your family members and also your long-term partners as well. With a square to Mars here, there might be some conflict arising, especially in the home environment, or the need at least to address certain things, certain topics related to boundaries, related to respecting each other's identities, respecting the rules in your relationship to your family members, and also your relationship that you have with your long-term partner, romantic partner, marriage partner, or business partner as well. So Mars here in the 4th house is creating some sort of conflict here. I have to say, Aries, but sometimes we need to confront other individuals so that we can assert ourselves and we can improve the relationships that we have with them. And like I said, sometimes that happens through conflict as well. Not always by being nice and letting things just happen. The opposition here to Chiron is calling for some sort of healing, especially related to old wounds, related to your own identity, your own personality. You might feel like you want to address topics, discussions related to boundaries, like I said, but also related to moments, situations that maybe you have felt misunderstood or rejected as well. That opposition to the Chiron might bring into surface, the old wounds and the need, a desire to heal as well. And the need, the desire of healing is especially emphasized by the ruler of the eclipse, Venus, being in the sign of Pisces, the sign that is like the ultimate healer. But in this conjunction that Venus is here in the sky with Saturn and the North Node and Mercury, it is probably going to bring a very realistic approach to finding a solution to all this conflict, or is going to bring some sort of level-headed thinking with Mercury over there as well, and the needed desire to maybe let go of certain misunderstandings and difficult situations by being very down to earth about it, being very realistic about it. Venus is exalted in the sign of Pisces, as we all know, so Venus is quite strong here. That's why I feel like eventually, after all, after this 2 weeks period of this full moon is over, maybe a lot of your Aries will come out more down to earth, with more stability and also grounded work regarding your long-term relationships, marriage partnerships, your contracts, agreements, and also business partners that you have as well. Okay, this is what I have for you, Aries. I wish you the best of luck for this full moon. This is a full moon that I've talked about since last year. I think this full moon is more on the intense side. That's why it's really important to stay grounded and take it one day at a time. Please, one day at a time. Okay, Aries, let me know in the comments below, what do you think this full moon might bring for you? Do you already feel the intensity of it? And if you want to show some support for my work, you can like, subscribe, share this video with people that you think are going to benefit from this. I wish you the best of luck, and I'll see you on the next video. Hello, dear Taurus suns, moons, and risings. Welcome to your full moon in Libra astrology predictions. This full moon is happening on April 13, and it's going to be at 23 degrees in the sign of Libra, forming an opposition to the sun, of course, and Chiron, which are both sitting at 23 degrees in the sign of Aries. This full moon also makes a square to Mars, which is in the sign of Cancer, and therefore there is some intensity added to this full moon. Now, this is happening in your 6th house, dear Taurus, which is the house that rules your daily routines, your day-to-day job, your work, things that you do on a daily basis. So for a lot of you, this full moon can talk about some sort of completion regarding a work project, work responsibilities, maybe some work title that you have. Some of you might, have some sort of completion there, and then eventually you might have some sort of start as well. Now, this full moon is especially highlighting maybe issues regarding not feeling appreciated, especially at the workplace with that opposition to Chiron. You may feel like maybe you've dedicated yourself a lot to your work and you don't feel as much appreciated or acknowledged with this opposition here, but the full moon will bring this into the surface in one way or another. There can be some intense communication, I have to say, with a square to Mars. Maybe you need to address something, somebody else needs to address something at work. There could be some intensity happening there. So keep that in mind. If you don't want to make things difficult at work, just try to hold back if you can. If not, then everything happens for a reason, and there is a reason why you're living in this lifetime at this specific moment with this illumination in the sky, and why things should go in a certain way. So just trust the process, trust the universe or God, whichever you believe in. The 6th house is also the house that is related to your personal health. With a full moon here, you might decide to end some sort of addiction, let go of, drinking, let's say, or any sort of addiction that you have, watching TV, biting your nails, It depends what kind of addiction you might have, just like everybody does. So with a full moon here, you might decide to let go of it because you feel like it's better for your own mental health. With Mars in the 3rd house of your thinking process, it's better for your health in general, for your physical body as well. Now, the ruler of the eclipse is, I'm sorry, the ruler of the full moon, I keep saying eclipse. The ruler of the full moon is Venus, and Venus is also your chart ruler. On the same day, Venus, thank God, is turning direct in the sky, and it's gonna be in a conjunction to Saturn, the North Node, Mercury, and all in your 11th house. So as there's some closure in your maybe health related issues or your day-to-day job, what you're actually keeping in mind is your long-term dreams and goals for the future. Is this job aligning you with where you want to be in the future? Like, these are the questions that you're going to be asking yourself, or there's going to be situations and opportunities that are going to open your eyes, your mind, to understand if this is the direction you want to be going to. This full moon can also highlight something in these areas of your life that require discipline and some sort of structure to be built so that you can achieve something in the long run, in the long term. Like, let's say if you want to get a promotion at work, maybe you have some sort of some sort of intense communication with a boss, with a colleague, with an authority figure, and you decide or you realize that in order to achieve this promotion, you have to, have some sort of plan, have something, a structure built so that you can follow through until you achieve your long-term dream and goal that you have regarding your job, your work environment, and things like that. Lastly, the full moon here is also in the house of enemies. Maybe you have some sort of intense communication here with an enemy, and you have also some sort of closure. Maybe they leave your life in one way or another. It's important to mention here that Mars is the ruler of your hidden enemies, and the illumination is happening in the house of your open enemies. So maybe somebody comes out of the shadows and you realize that they were not your friend all along. They were somebody that maybe were not doing things in your benefit. So this illumination can bring out those individuals as well. Okay, and this is what I have for you, Taurus. I wish you the best of luck. Let me know in the comments below, how do you think this is going to impact you? This is a full moon that it is more on the intense side. It's a full moon I've talked about since last year. But I wish you the best of luck with it. If you want to show some support for my work, you can like, subscribe, share this video with people that you think are going to benefit from it. Okay, I'll see you on the next video. Bye. Hello, dear Gemini, suns, moons, and risings. Welcome to your full moon in Libra astrology predictions. This full moon is happening on April 13 at 23 degrees in the sign of Libra, in an opposition to, of course, the sun, but also to Chiron, which are both at 23 degrees in the sign of Aries. This full moon is also creating a square to Mars, and that adds more to the intensity of this full moon. Now, this is illuminating your fifth house, Libras. And the fifth house is the house, dear Geminis. I'm sorry, Geminis. I mean to say Geminis. This is highlighting your house of romance, your creativity, your fun. And so there can be a desire to go out there and have fun, entertain yourselves. But Mars in the second house is maybe having you realize that maybe you don't have the financial situation so that you can afford this kind of fun things to do with things like that. There can be a big realization regarding this area of your lives. The fifth house is also the house of your children. Maybe something is happening in the lives of one of your children that requires you to assist them financially, to be there for them financially. With Mars in the second house, it can be related to unexpected expenditures as well. So be aware of that. Maybe it's smart and good to keep some money aside or saved, so that in case something comes up with one of your children, you might feel a little safer financially for yourselves as well. The fifth house is the house of your romantic interests as well. Maybe some of you will run into something or are dating somebody that makes you excited, and it can be somebody that makes you feel very vulnerable, in a sense that they expose your deepest wounds, but in an attempt to heal them as well. And that's what this full moon can literally bring. Maybe a conversation, maybe discussions, to where you kind of unfold your old wounds with that opposition to Chiron, and you realize that you really need to heal from them. Maybe these old wounds don't align with your own values anymore, with a square to Mars, and that's why there's some sort of intensity here, some sort of clash in these discussions with a romantic interest. If you are dating someone, if you're in that phase of your life. There might be some sort of public image shifts as well, because Venus, the ruler of this eclipse, is currently transiting your 10th house. And Venus, luckily, on the same day is turning direct, but it's going to be in a conjunction to Saturn, the North Node, and Mercury as well. So you have a stellium here in your 10th house. And the issues or the situations that could be rising from your 5th house might impact your public status and the way how the world views you. There might be some karmic situation, I have to say, with the North Node there that will maybe have you change your career direction, the industry that you're in, whatever you're known into the world for. There might be some karmic situation that requires building some sort of structure to change the direction of your public image. And like I said, there might be uncomfortable situations that are brought up with this full moon, but eventually, with Chiron there, that's a wounded healer. We feel wounded, we feel the pain, but we decide to heal from it. That's the purpose of Chiron here. And maybe this is important so that you can have some sort of shift and change in your public persona and also what you're known into the world. Venus and Saturn and the North Node and Mercury, have been doing a lot of work, a lot of efforts, have put a lot of efforts in your career and your public persona sector of your life. And so maybe this full moon in the 5th house is part of that big change and shift that will be happening in the way how you're known into the world, in the structures that you're building when it comes to your reputation, your public reputation, how other people know you, your career, and your the footprint that you want to leave into the world. Now you may think and say, what, for example, do my children have to do with my public persona and public status and things like that? There could be a situation, like I mentioned earlier, happening in the lives of your children, because of course they're going to be affected by this full moon as well, that require you to take some action to assist them financially, or to educate them regarding certain values with Mars in the 2nd house. And as these things happen, maybe some other people know and learn about it with Venus in the 10th house, and they view you in a different way, or they see you maybe as more disciplined, as a disciplined parent with conjunction to Venus, or maybe they see the structures that you're building regarding your children and things like that. This is just an example, but this can be applied to your romantic interests as well. Like I mentioned, maybe you're dating somebody, you decide to build certain boundaries with them during this full moon, and the next 2 weeks after this full moon, that is somehow seen, and it's seen from other people as well. The 5th house is also the house of your creative work, and so some of you might decide to maybe let go of a creative skill, or decide to spend more money on it so that you can elevate your public status, or you can become known for this creative skill and artistic ability that you might have into the world. Okay, Geminis, this is what I have for you. I'm sorry if I called you Libra here and there. My brain is fried. I've had a crazy week. But I wish you the best of luck. Let me know down in the comments below, what do you expect from this full moon? And if you want to show some support, you can like, subscribe, and share this video with people that you think are going to benefit from this. I wish you the best of luck, and I'll see you on the next one. Hello, dear Cancer suns, moons, and rising. So welcome to your full moon in the sign of Libra astrology predictions. This full moon is happening on April 13, and it's gonna be in an opposition to the sun, of course, but also to Chiron, which are at 23 degrees in the sign of Aries. This full moon is also creating a square to Mars that is transiting your 1st house, which is you Cancers. I feel like this full moon is going to bring some sort of big understanding, closures, and realizations regarding your real estate, regarding your home environment, where you live and who you live with. I think a lot of you are going to understand that maybe the individuals that you live with bring conflict to you, bring conflict to your life. And you might be the one that is the most aggravated here, the one that feels a lot of resentment and anger in your heart, in your emotions, because of Mars transiting your 1st house. And Mars here is also in opposition to Chiron in your 7th house. So there can be some sort of old wound that comes to the surface regarding your relationships, long-term relationships, marriage partner, business partner. Maybe you'll find something out about what they've done, what you've done, and therefore there's some sort of intense communication conflict here that brings those old wounds to the surface, and you have to address them, you have to communicate them. This is creating quite of an intense energy for you, Cancers. I'm not gonna lie. You might be after Libras, you might be one of the most impacted signs here, but sometimes this kind of intense energy is needed so that you can realign your life in a more structured way, in a more disciplined way, down to earth way, into something that is more long lasting and more solidified for you. And I'm using all these words because the ruler of the eclipse, Venus, is currently transiting your 9th house, which is in the sign of Pisces, but it's in conjunction to Saturn, to the North Node, and Mercury as well. And the ruler of the eclipse is calling for structure, discipline, and a realistic approach into basically all areas of your life, but especially in your home environment, on your real estate, and also your own identity and your own personality. With Venus being here in the 9th house, maybe there is some sort of legal matter that you are addressing, that you need to take care of. And also, this legal matter could be quite karmic in nature. We have Saturn, we have the North Node in conjunction to Venus here. Very karmic. But like I said to the other signs as well, this is happening in the last zodiac. So, it is calling for closure. We had to reassess a lot of things with the retrogrades, but there is a need for some sort of closure that needs to be happening in your life. The 4th house is also the house of your own emotions. The full moon here can highlight emotions that have been deep within you. Like I mentioned, old wounds as well with the opposition to Chiron, and you might be exploding into family members, into your partner, business partner as well, maybe authority figures here because Chiron is in the 10th house. The sun is in your 10th house as well. So be careful, Cancers, from any unnecessary, maybe explosive reactions. Be careful of the unnecessary ones. But if things have come to the point where you have to explode, like sometimes it is important and necessary to do so. I have a stellium in the sign of Pisces, and most of the time I keep my things, my emotions within me, but there are certain moments where I really need to explode, and when I explode, that shifts and changes my life in a very good way. So that's why I'm saying sometimes these situations are needed. Okay, I'm not one of those people that are gonna say no, be careful not to say this and that. Like if you need to say it, you gotta say it. You might have a need to also balance your public and private life as well with this opposition here, because your public image is still highlighted here with the sun and Chiron there in the 10th house, but also your private life is here with a full moon. So some things are going to be brought to the surface. Other people might see it as well with whatever is happening in your private life as well. I think I've covered most of the things here. Maybe there's a need to relocate as well, Cancers, for some of you with the full moon here. You might decide to do so in the next 2 weeks. You might relocate internationally for a few of you with Venus in the 9th house. You might be traveling far away to relocate, those things could be highlighted as well. Okay, I think this is all I have for you. I wish you the best of luck, Cancers. Please let me know in the comments below how things are going for you. There's a lot of other Cancers that will love to hear from you and learn from you as well, so that we can kind of share the burden together. Let me know. And if you want to show some support, please make sure to do so as well. It really helps me. I'll see you in the next video, Cancers. Hello, dear Leo suns, moons, and risings. Welcome to your full moon in Libra astrology predictions. This full moon is happening on April 13 at 23 degrees in the sign of Libra, in an opposition to, of course, the Sun, but also Chiron, both sitting at 23 degrees in the sign of Aries. This full moon is also making a square to Mars in the sign of Cancer, which for you is in your 12th house. Now, this full moon is happening in the third house of communication, of your local environment, and everyday interactions that you have with other people. There could be some intense communication happening with someone, dear Leos, that might bring into the surface maybe some hidden agendas, maybe some hidden patterns, hidden things that could have been happening behind your back that you did not know about. And so, you suddenly find out about it, it's being communicated to you, or you communicate it to other people, and that brings some sort of intense interactions, communications as well. For others of you, with Mars in the 12th house, maybe you've been working on something behind the scenes and now you decide to communicate it to other people to let them know about what you've been doing. But when people find out about it, it can go two ways. One way is that people will start to be a little jealous about what you have going on because the ruler of the eclipse, Venus, is transiting your 8th house of jealousy. And it's in a conjunction to Saturn, the North Node, and also to Mercury. So people might feel a little iffy about how good things are going for you, and therefore they might create some sort of drama and in communication, specifically. The other way that things can go is that you become more empowered, you feel more empowered with Venus here in the 8th house. There might be some sort of karmic situation. I want to say that is very, very karmic, especially for you Leos, because Mars is in the 12th house, which is a karmic house. Venus is also in a karmic house for you. Venus is in conjunction to the North Node, which is karmic, and also Saturn, the planet of karma. So there is some sort of closure, some sort of big important communication given to you or given by you that is intense in nature, takes maybe other people by surprise, because something is coming out of the shadows, something is being brought to the surface that you weren't aware of or they weren't aware of. That, like I said, can either make you feel very empowered, or it can make other people a little jealous about you and will want to, maybe make things a little harder for you in that sense. Now, the 8th house is also the house of shared resources and finances. Maybe some of you Leos have been working behind the scenes to increase your money, to make more money, to increase your resources and finances. And then you finally decide to take action into it, maybe to be on social media, maybe to market whatever you've been working on, communicate it to others as well. And as you do so, like I said, maybe that's going to increase your own finances, maybe the finances that you have with another individual, with your family members, or at least maybe it's going to bring some structure associated with it, some structure being built, maybe becoming more disciplined in the money-making abilities, in also budgeting with other people, sharing your resources with other people in general as well. This full moon can also bring transformation in shared resources, like I said. Maybe hidden resources and finances might be brought to the surface, and there is some sort of restructure that needs to happen there. For some of you, you might also separate finances with someone else, with that Venus-Saturn conjunction. After there's like a lot of intense communication, that is happening as well. It is important to know that, like I said, the Sun and Chiron are in the sign of Aries, which for you is in the 9th house. So it could be that this intense communications could be happening through a legal matter. Maybe they're bringing into surface, old wounds, I would say, old wounds and pains and maybe fears that you had regarding finances, shared resources, shared finances, hidden finances as well. And as you know, you have to deal maybe with this legal matter, or there's some sort of communication associated with it. There might be a need to separate finances and shared resources that you have with someone else. I feel like this is very specific, so it could be the case just for a few of you, but definitely a scenario. For others of you, you know, you could have communication brought to you regarding higher knowledge institutions like universities, where you go and get your bachelor's degree, your master's degree. There's some sort of intense communication there. Maybe you need to, you know, to provide more finances, to show more financial proof to get in, or to show that, or to fix maybe your visa situation if you're going to school abroad, or to simply, you know, submit more documents. There is some sort of, you know, there's illumination here, communication happening that, like I said, is not on the easy side, but it's still there. Okay, this is what I have for you, Leos. I wish you the best of luck. Let me know in the comments below what do you expect from this full moon. This should last for 2 weeks. This, you know, this high intense energy. Let me know in the comments. There's a lot of Leos. I would love to share their experience with you and learn from you as well. If you want to show some support, you can always do so by commenting, liking, subscribing, and especially sharing this video with people that you think are going to benefit and learn something from it. Okay, I'll see you on the next video. Bye-bye. Hello, dear Virgo suns, moons, and risings. Welcome to your full moon in Libra astrology predictions. This full moon is happening exactly on April 13, and it's going to be at 23 degrees in the sign of Libra, forming an opposition to the sun, which is in a conjunction to Chiron at 23 degrees in the sign of Aries. This full moon is also forming a square to Mars, which for you is transiting your 11th house. So the full moon is happening in your second house, still with your Virgos, and your focus is very much on your finances, on your resources as well. A lot of you might want to maybe spend some money on something, buy something, but you know, maybe one of your friends doesn't want you to do it. So there's some sort of tension here, some sort of conflict that is being created, maybe with a roommate, you know, if you live with someone that is not a family member. Or simply with your group of friends. Some of you might want to, for example, want to go to a foreign trip, let's say, and your friends are like, well, you know, we can do that. It's too much money, or that could be you that is saying that. So there's some form of intensity being created here. Some of you Virgos might want to get in a long-term relationship with someone, but it could be that your friends don't like that person. They're the ones that bring the drama and the conflict as well. And now with the full moon in the second house, maybe you're reassessing whether you're in the right group of friends, if you share the same values as they do, if these individuals are uplifting you or putting you down. There might be a need here to really reassess and reevaluate your social circles and groups of friends as well. The other thing about this full moon is that it's going to highlight maybe old wounds regarding shared resources and finances. If you haven't felt, let's say, financially safe before with a family member, or with a partner that you've shared your resources with, then there is some conflict that could arise here, meaning that you need to talk about finances with each other so that you can reevaluate if you are on the same page regarding your long-term dreams and goals that you have for the future. Maybe you want to spend some money on something, or your partner wants to spend some money on something else, but you know, you realize that that doesn't align with what you want to be doing in the long run, in the long term, or this decision does not align with the financial wealth that you want to be having in the future. So, you know, there's conflict, and you need to talk about things, and you need to protect your financial wealth, or you need to protect your long-term dreams and goals that you have for the future. So there's a lot of discussion here that could be happening regarding shared resources and finances. Your focus may be very much on that. Now, another topic that you may be focusing a lot on is also your long-term relationship, partnership, that you have, because the ruler of the eclipse, Venus, is also going to be direct, thankfully, on the same day in the sign of Pisces, which for you is in your 7th house. And Venus here is going to be in conjunction to Saturn and the North Node and Mercury as well, meaning that it's going to bring some clarity, some big decision making, I have to say, that could be quite karmic in nature. I'm talking about karma because of the involvement of the North Node and Saturn as well in the same area of the sky. So a lot of you Virgos, as you have these discussions regarding your shared resources, finances, personal finances, maybe the conflict that is arising with long-term dreams and goals for the future, or your social circles, if you have the right friends, if you are in the right circle of people, as you're making all these decisions, as things are being exposed and brought into the surface and emphasized as well, you might decide to either build more structure around an existing relationship, long-term business partnership as well, maybe some sort of agreement, or you might decide to separate from it. Like, let's say, you've been living with a roommate, with a friend of yours for some time. You think that maybe you contribute more financially to this environment that you're living with them. They're not contributing as much, so you have a conflict with Mars in the 11th house of your friends with them, and then you decide that, oh, okay, I'm not gonna keep this contract, which is a 7th house thing, or this rental contract, this agreement that I have, and I'm gonna separate myself from it and maybe move somewhere else eventually. That's like just an example, but this can be related to a long-term relationship or marriage as well. If you feel like your partner has been abusing finances, or if you have been the one doing that, there is some need to protect the dreams that you two have for the future, and eventually this may cause a desire to separate and kind of let go of another individual. That could be your marriage partner or business partner. This could be also like very business oriented as well, especially with the Sun and Chiron in the 8th house. Now, with Saturn there, this can just bring the need to restructure. We know that Venus has been retrograde, Mercury has been retrograde in this area of the sky. So a lot of you may have already been reassessing things, reevaluating, thinking and rethinking what you're going to be doing about your future and all that, with your relationship, marriage, business partnerships, and things like that. And now with Saturn there, you're deciding to build a structure, you're deciding to take things on your own hands and work harder on all these areas. Work harder on your marriage, work harder on your long-term relationship, and also your business partnership if you have one as well. Okay, this is what I have for you, dear Virgos. I wish you the best of luck with this full moon. Let us know in the comments below how things are going for you. A lot of other Virgos would love to learn from you and share their experiences with you as well. If you want to show some support, you can do so by liking, subscribing, sharing this video with people that you think are going to benefit from it. I wish you the best of luck, and I'll see you on the next video. Bye-bye. Hello, dear Libra suns, moons, and risings. Welcome to the full moon in Libra astrology predictions. This full moon is for you, is about you. It's happening in your 1st house, exactly on April 13 at 23 degrees. And of course, the full moon is in opposition to the sun, which is in your 7th house, but it's also in opposition to Chiron, which is in conjunction to the sun at 23 degrees as well. This full moon, Libra, is also in a square to Mars, transiting your 10th house. So basically, all areas of your life are being affected by this full moon. And I want to say that maybe it's a bit more on the intense side. This is a full moon I talked about last year as well, and I was so looking forward to it. Not because it's so intense, but because I want to get over it as soon as possible. But let's be serious now, and let's talk how this can affect you, Libras. First of all, there is a lot of realization that you may be doing regarding your own identity, your own character, and your own personality. But now these realizations could come because of some sort of conflict that you may have, maybe with a marriage partner or a long-term relationship partner or a business partner, and or your authority figures that you have at your job, at your work, in your career as well. The opposition to Chiron that is transiting your seventh house can talk about maybe old traumas or wounds that were buried very deep within you or very deep within your long-term partner, that are somehow brought into the surface. Something is happening here that somebody is exploding and wanting to address these things. And so Chiron is highlighting all these deep-rooted issues and traumas that need to be brought into the surface. Like maybe, let's say, let me give you an example. Something that you have done in the past or something that your partner has done in the past is somehow brought back through a certain situation, and now you or them want to address it, and this creates some sort of conflict to the point where some of you Libras are going to reassess and reevaluate, or maybe want to take action into changing your own public status with Mars in the 10th house. Some of you will be like, maybe I don't want to be in a relationship anymore, so you decide to let go of somebody. Or others of you are like, well, I really want to be in this relationship. I really want to be in this marriage. So I want to take action, which is Mars, into fixing this marriage, into fighting more for it, into being more responsible on a daily basis, working harder, taking responsibilities, being there for my partner as well. So I think a lot of you Libras have this need to really protect your own image, to protect the public image that you have with Mars in the 10th house here. The ruler of the eclipse, Venus, which is also your ruler, as we know, is transiting your 6th house of your responsibilities, of your daily responsibilities. And Venus is in a conjunction to Saturn, and a conjunction to the North Node, and also to Mercury in this house of yours, of the 6th house. That's why I'm talking and I'm saying that some of you Libras will really want to work even harder in your marriages or in your business partnerships, relationships, because that is the nature of Saturn and Venus conjunction. You want to work harder, you want to stay in that marriage as well. So like I said, it could go both ways. Some of you will want to separate because that's what Saturn sometimes is separation, meaning that something karmic comes to an end and then you decide to part ways. Especially with Venus now going direct, after a retrograde season. Venus, the planet of love and relationships and all that. And then for others of you, you might just decide to work harder. Now, for some of you, the conflict could arise with authority figures, maybe with a boss. You don't agree on something with them. Maybe they don't agree with you. And there is some sort of coldness that could be happening there. Maybe some sort of boundaries being set as well. Especially, like I said, Mars is in the 10th house, Venus is in the 6th house of your day-to-day job. So for some of you, be careful with authority figures. Be very, very careful with them, with your communications with them. There's something that could be happening here at your work, at your job, maybe regarding responsibilities. Like I said, with Saturn there's some sort of karmic situation that could be happening at work with your responsibilities. Some of you might be really protecting your job, wanting to keep a job, and you might be doing it, through a lot of hard work and on one hand. So, with Saturn in the 6th house, that's hard work. So be careful with authority figures. That's all I want to say. Okay, Libras, I feel like I've covered most of the things. Like I said, all areas of your lives are going to be impacted as this full moon is happening. It's squaring your 4th house as well. So all these decisions could be impacting you in your home environment, in, whoever you live with. Yeah. The next 2 weeks after this full moon might be a little intense. But like I said, I kind of wanted this to happen so that we get over it. We're done with it. Okay, Libras, I wish you the best of luck. Let me know in the comments below, how do you think this is going to unfold for you? I know that there's a lot of Libras that would love to learn and share the same experiences with you. And if you want to show some support, you can like, subscribe, and share this video with people that you think are going to benefit from this. I wish you the best of luck, and I'll see you on the next one. Hello, dear Scorpio suns, moons, and risings. Welcome to your full moon in Libra astrology predictions. This full moon is happening on April 13, and it's happening at 23 degrees in the sign of Libra, of course forming an opposition to the sun, but also to Chiron, which are both at 23 degrees in the sign of Aries. This full moon is also making a square to Mars in the sign of Cancer, which for you is transiting your 9th house. The full moon is highlighting your subconscious mind because it's happening in your 12th house, dear Scorpios. There is a need here to heal at a very, very deep level, especially with the opposition to Chiron. I feel like a lot of you Scorpios are going to feel very prompted to heal, to let go of old ones, of self-sabotaging patterns, of karmic ties, of karmic inherited ancestral karma as well. And you may be doing so by using spirituality and using religion as well. A lot of you may be meditating, maybe reading scripture, maybe, you know, doing yoga. I don't know, doing pilgrimages to like temples and sacred places. A lot of you might have this very strong desire to let go of karma, let go of old ones and things that don't serve you anymore at the soul level. It can be very, very deep for you, Scorpios. For others of you, this full moon may be highlighting things that have happened behind the scenes that you were not aware of. And this can be regarding your hidden enemies also, maybe hidden enemies that could be your co-workers, you know, if you're working, if you have a job. With the opposition to Chiron here, if you haven't felt like appreciated at your work, at your job, you might express it, or it might be brought to the surface in one way or another. There could be something happening outside of you that brings these things into the surface and are highlighted as well. Now, for others of you, you might be dealing maybe with a legal matter kind of behind the scenes. For some of you Scorpios, there is a need here to protect yourself with Mars in the 9th house. And then for others of you, with this full moon, you might really decide to go on an international trip to faraway lands to travel. And this can be very healing for you. Like I said, you know, you might go to a place where it brings certain memories to you or certain realizations, and you decide to heal yourself and let go of things that are not serving you anymore at the soul level, like I mentioned earlier. This full moon is not like directly affecting you, Scorpios, which I think is a very, very good thing, to be honest, because it's quite intense. It's going to be an intense moon, I'm not going to lie. So I don't think it's affecting you directly, but there could be things outside of you happening, you know, with your co-workers, happening with your teachers, you know, if you're in school, or happening with your children as well, that, you know, that you see as well, and, you know, you experience it as well with them, but it doesn't directly affect you. Now, the ruler of this full moon is Venus, and Venus is transiting your 5th house. Venus here is turning direct on the same day, luckily. And it's going to be in conjunction to Saturn. It's going to be in conjunction to the North Node and also to Mercury. So for a lot of you Scorpios, this full moon with this ruler transiting your 5th house can talk about you know, letting go of these self-sabotaging patterns and things that don't serve you anymore that I told you earlier. But you might be doing it by using creative skills also, your artistic abilities. Maybe some of you are going to build some structure regarding your expressing yourselves freely, you know, with your creative skills that you have, or with the way that you have fun. If you've been like super busy working, especially with Chiron in the 6th house, maybe you're going to decide to let loose in a way, but not to overdo it with Saturn in the 5th house. If you have children, then there could be an emphasis being put here regarding your own health or their health as well. There may be structures that need to be put in place with your responsibilities with them. to where you're like, maybe I need to build certain boundaries. I need to take care of my children, but I also need to take care of my mental health. I also need to take care of myself. If I don't do so, I might feel burnt out, With Mars in the ninth house, it's also opposing your third house of thinking process, your mental health. So, as you do all these day-to-day routines, responsibilities, you will also want to build structures in taking care of your own mental health and kind of enjoying life a little bit. Maybe spending time in your own creative world. You're one of the most creative signs, Scorpios. You're a water sign after all. If you are, if you have a romantic partner, then, if you're like dating somebody, not in an actual relationship, but if you're dating someone and have a romantic interest, then there could be some healing that could come out with certain discussions and conversations with them, or you may have to be more responsible in your time that you spend with them. If you've been lacking in that department, maybe that romantic partner is going to bring it to you to communicate with you and talk to you. What do you want to do regarding our relationship? Do you want this to be in the long term or not? Things like that. Now, I do want to say, some of you Scorpios, if you have a crush on a coworker, or if they have one on you, then there might be a need to address it, to talk about it, to try to heal it, to try to fix it. Some of you might be even amending a relationship with a coworker. If you've been fighting always together, you might fight again with this square to Mars, but in an attempt to kind of set boundaries, and with a Venus conjunction to Saturn, to set boundaries and to become more level-headed with a conjunction to Mercury as well. But like I said, if some of you have a crush on a co-worker, then with this, you might, decide to take the crush on a different level. Like, some of you might even start dating, but I would say after these 2 weeks, though, these 2 intense weeks that we have coming up. This is what I have for you, Scorpios. I wish you the best of luck on this full moon. Like I said, maybe it's not gonna affect you as much, even though Mars, like your ancient chart ruler, is involved in there, but it's still happening in your 12th house. But anyway, I wish you the best of luck. Like I said, let us know in the comments below, what do you expect from this. There's a lot of other Scorpios that would love to share their experiences with you. Oh, one thing that I want to say, to take care of your physical health, of your physical body, because Chiron is in the 6th house. So take care of your health. There might be some news or something that you learn about your physical health, your physical body, that will ask you to take action in learning more about it, increasing your knowledge with Mars in the 9th house, and to understand it better so that you can address it, you can fix some sort of health issue. Okay, I'm done now. I'll see you, Scorpios, on the next video. Bye-bye. Hello, dear Sagittarius suns, moons, and risings. Welcome to your full moon in Libra astrology predictions. This full moon is happening on April 13, and it's happening at 23 degrees in an opposition, of course, to Sun and also Chiron. Them two are at 23 degrees in the sign of Aries. This full moon is creating a square to Mars, which is currently transiting the sign of Pisces, meaning that it's transiting your 8th house. So, Sagittarius, what could this full moon bring for you? It's happening in your 11th house of your friendships, and there could be some important communications here, or decision making also, regarding your friends, circle of friends as well. Some of you Sagittarians, if you have been in friendships that you haven't been valued in, or you felt like they trigger something in you, meaning they trigger fears, insecurities, things like that, more on the negative side, then you might do some sort of communication with these individuals, with these people, to where you decide to express yourself maybe in an explosive way. Maybe you will want to express all these insecurities that maybe they've brought in you, these feelings that are not on the good side. Others of you, if you feel like, there's a friend or a group of friends that maybe were jealous of you, then you might decide to expose them as well with that Mars in the 8th house as well. For others of you, you might put a lot of emphasis in your long-term dreams and goals for the future with this full moon. You may want to achieve something in the future. You might have a dream, a vision. However, you feel like maybe you don't have the right financial resources to be able to achieve it, to be able to go after it with Mars in the 8th house. And these resources are specifically resources that are shared with other individuals, and resources that you have maybe with a partner, with a family member, or simply your own investments, and any money that you have through other people's money as well. For others of you, this full moon may be highlighting the need to focus on your financial rewards. And like I said, there's some focus here on finances, especially because, the 11th house is being activated, the 8th house as well with Mars in there. So you may want to, you may realize that in order to achieve a long-term dream and goal that you have regarding your own finances, your own financial wealth, you might need to maybe have a certain expense, or you might want to protect resources, finances as well. There's a need for protection with Mars in the sign of Cancer here as well. Now let's focus on the ruler of this full moon. The ruler of the full moon is Venus, and Venus currently for you is transiting your 4th house. And on the day of this full moon, Venus is turning direct, thankfully, but it's going to be in a conjunction to Saturn, in a conjunction to the North Node, and also in a conjunction to Mercury. And so as you are reassessing your social groups, for some of you Sagittarians, you might decide to set boundaries with them with this conjunction to Saturn, because you want to respect your own emotions, your own emotional world. Some of you might take very level-headed decisions with a conjunction to Mercury as well. You might have that mental clarity that you need to decide to either part ways with this group of friends that don't value, or with a certain friend that you feel like they don't value you, or you may decide to work even harder in this friendship after you've had this deep, intense conversations with this friend or this group of friends. For others of you, you might have that focus on shared resources and finances, maybe with a family member with Venus in the 4th house. You might want to reassess your long-term dreams and goals, like I said, but you may be doing so by keeping in mind the shared resources that you have with family members, and also setting boundaries or building structures when it comes to finances, again, that you have with them, how much money you're making, how much you're spending, how much everybody's contributing in the overall financial wealth of the family, or your collaboration that you have with another individual. Some of you, a very specific group of you, might get more physical with a friend as well with this full moon, and it might be very intense in nature and very spontaneous. That's the right word. Very spontaneous. Okay, this is Mars after all, and it's transiting your 8th house of intimacy. But as you do so, you may feel like you want to build some type of structure with this individual. You're not just gonna have something for the heck of it and let go of a friend. I feel like we might want to become more down to earth with this individual. Like I said, this is very specific and probably applicable to just a few of you, but it could be as a scenario as well. Okay, this is what I have for you, dear Sagittarians. I wish you the best of luck. Let us know in the comments below, what do you expect from this full moon? There's a lot of other Sagittarians I would love, love, love to learn from you and to also share their experiences with you, you know, with their replies and things like that. If you want to show some support, you can always do so by liking, subscribing, and sharing this video with people that you think are going to benefit from this. I wish you the best of luck, and I'll see you on the next one. Hello, dear Capricorn suns, moons, and risings. Welcome to your full moon in Libra astrology predictions. This full moon is happening exactly on April 13 at 23 degrees in the sign of Libra, in an opposition to, of course, the sun, but also to Chiron, which are both sitting at 23 degrees in the sign of Aries. This full moon is also making a square to Mars, which for you is sitting in your 7th house, which of course makes you Capricorns one of the most impacted signs. Okay, so this full moon is putting a lot of emphasis on your career and public image. There might be some sort of intense discussion that you may be having, maybe with a marriage partner or a business partner, that somehow is public, meaning that, you know, other people will know about it and will learn about it as well. But it affects the way how other people view you. It affects the way how you're seen in the world as well. For some of you, you know, you might have some disagreements and maybe agitated conversations with a marriage partner, like I said, that really makes you think if you're in the right long-term marriage or in the long-term relationship with them. And however, I feel like you will want to protect your long-term relationship in your marriage with this full moon. It could be that maybe some of you Capricorns will get an opportunity to elevate your status in your industry, at your work, at your job, but that somehow gets into a conflict with your place of living, like with your home environment, maybe with your real estate, with the city that you're living in. And therefore, you know, as maybe you discuss this this opportunity that you have with work, with a marriage partner or romantic partner, maybe they disagree with, you know, this decision that you want to make. And for some of you, you might feel like maybe this this thing that could be happening at your work, at your job, in your industry, affects your marriage, and you will want to protect it. You know, Mars in the sign of Cancer gives you that protective energy, and in your 7th house, you really want and you feel like you need to protect the health of your own marriage, if you're, you know, if you're married, or your long-term relationship if you are in one as well. Now, for others of you, you might have to focus on certain conversations and discussions, maybe with an authority figure. And as you do so, I have to say that maybe some old wounds will come to the surface, meaning that if you haven't felt appreciated at work or with your authority figures, you know, in your industry, or simply with authority figures that you have in your life, then this full moon is going to highlight those. It's going to bring them to the surface. You may need to address them. And like I said, you might have this intense one-on-one conversations with somebody else that, you know, are very intense and will bring these deep feelings to the surface with Chiron in the 4th house of emotions. Now, the ruler of this full moon is Venus, and Venus turns direct on the same day, luckily. However, Venus is in a conjunction to Saturn, to the North Node, and to Mercury, all transiting your 3rd house of communication. So as you have these heated conversations, maybe, you know, like I said, with a partner or with a family member even, or authority figure, you know, your entire chart is activated. The most important areas of your life are being activated with this full moon. I still think that you're going to keep that clarity in your mind, and you're going to set a lot of boundaries too with Venus Saturn conjunction. You're gonna, you know, take very level-headed decisions with these individuals regarding your career, where you want to be, what you want to do, but also your public status. If you want to stay married, if you want to stay in a relationship, if you want to get married and take a relationship to the next level as well. You might have these very, very important topics coming up during this full moon and the next 2 weeks after the full moon. But like I said, with Venus and Saturn conjunction here and the North Node, these are karmic situations, karmic conversations that need to be made. We have both Saturn and the North Node here, and they are in the sign of Pisces, the zodiac of of those zodiac signs, the last sign. So it's quite karmic, whatever situation that you may be going through, but it's necessary so that you have some sort of closure and some sort of clarity regarding, again, your public status, what you want to be known to the world, if you want to be in a certain marriage or relationship or not, in a certain business partnership or not. All of these things are going to be emphasized. And again, expect some conversations with other individuals, family members, long-term partner, and authority figures as well. All of this is also going to affect you in the first house as well. So keep that in mind. You might feel like you need to develop certain qualities about your character so that you can handle these situations in the best way. This is what I have for you, Capricorns, for this full moon. I wish you the best of luck with this. I know, the energy sounds a little heavy, and it is heavy. This is a full moon that I've talked about since last year. But know that sometimes we have to have these intense conversations and boundaries to be set, because it makes our lives better and easier in the long run. So keep that kind of perspective in mind as you navigate through this energy. Okay, so this is what I have for you. I wish you the best of luck, and I'll see you on the next video. Hello, dear Aquarius suns, moons, and risings. Welcome to your full moon in the sign of Libra astrology predictions. This full moon is happening on April 13, and it's happening at 23 degrees in the sign of Libra, of course in an opposition to the sun, but also to Chiron, which are both at 23 degrees in the sign of Aries. This full moon is making a square to Mars. And Mars for you is currently transiting your 6th house. So this full moon is putting a lot of emphasis in your travels, international travels here in the 9th house. A lot of you Aquarians may have this strong desire to go travel, or you might have a sudden opportunity to really do so, to go in a foreign trip. However, with Mars in the 6th house, you have a lot of responsibilities to take care of and to deal with. There's a conflict arising here between the opportunity to travel somewhere and, having to deal with responsibilities in your family, at your job, at your work, things that you have to do on a daily basis. For others of you, this full moon is talking about being able to enter some some higher educational institution, like maybe going to a university if that's something that you've been working on and you've been wanting to do. However, you might realize that, you have responsibilities and things to take care of on a daily basis before you're able to attend this place or while you are attending this place. So this is a square, it talks about conflict, but as you master this energy, you might be able to manage everything at the same time. When Mars is between the moon and the sun, like this, like in a T square, then, if you focus on doing all these responsibilities that you have, running all these errands that you have, maybe you're going to balance the intensity of this full moon. Especially with higher educational institutions, like I said, or foreign travels as well. For others of you Aquarians, this full moon can talk about maybe a legal matter. With Mars in the 6th house of your enemies, you might have, a lot of conflict happening with them, having to deal with certain topics, certain documentations, things, conflict, quote unquote, fighting with these individuals during this full moon and, the 2 weeks after the full moon as well. Now, the ruler of this full moon is Venus, and Venus turns direct on the same day in the sky in the sign of Pisces in your 2nd house, and it's going to be in conjunction to Saturn, to the North Node, and to Mercury as well. Which means that a lot of you Aquarians are putting a lot of emphasis in your own finances. Yes, maybe there is an opportunity to travel abroad, but you're also being very smart and structured when it comes to finances and paying for those expenses and things like that. You might feel like you don't have enough finances, or you have just enough to be able to do an international trip, to go on a vacation, things like that. But the conflict is with your daily responsibilities. So if you may feel like you're so busy on your day-to-day life, that it makes you question if you can, go on an international travel or not. It could be that something, if you live abroad, something prompts or something happens that it asks of you to travel abroad, and that's why there's a conflict with your daily responsibilities, whether you can make it or not. Now, with Venus here in the second house, a lot of you are putting emphasis on your own values and the standards that you have for yourselves. The ninth house is a house of your higher knowledge, of anything that you're an expert on, that you're smart on, that you can also teach other people as well. So you might understand, or you might think and realize that maybe a certain knowledge that you have, or certain belief system that you have, does not align very well with your values, and therefore there is some sort of separation with Venus Saturn conjunction. You might distance yourself from certain beliefs that you had in the past, and have some sort of completion with it as well. Why? Because it does not align with your values, like I said, or it does not align with your current lifestyle with Mars in the sixth house. For others of you, if you have a certain belief system, then you want to fight even harder for what you believe in. And even though, it comes into conflict with your daily routines as well. This full moon is not affecting you as much, except the fact that, you have a stellium in the second house that is putting emphasis on your finances and on the need to be smart with your own money, with budgeting, with how much money you're spending, and also how much money you're making. But the full moon in itself, it's happening in the ninth house, in a house that is positively aspected to you, Aquarians. This is what I have for you for this full moon. I wish you the best of luck with it. Let us know in the comments below. What do you expect from it? What are you already feeling? And I'm pretty sure there's a lot of Aquarians that would love to learn from you and share their experiences with you as well. If you want to show some support for my work, you can always like, subscribe, and share this video with people you think are going to benefit from this. I wish you the best of luck, and I'll see you on the next one. Hello, dear Pisces suns, moons, and risings. Welcome to your full moon in Libra astrology predictions. This full moon is happening on April 13, and of course is in an opposition to the sun, but also to Chiron, which are both sitting at 23 degrees in the sign of Aries. This full moon is also making a square to Mars in the sign of Cancer, which is currently in your fifth house. So a lot of you Pisces may be putting a lot of emphasis on shared resources and finances with this full moon, as it's happening in your eighth house. You might understand and you might realize that maybe the shared resources and finances that you have with someone else was not, or is not, the best idea, and therefore you might put in place some boundaries, or you might separate your finances with somebody else. For others of you, the eighth house is the house of intimacy. This full moon may indicate maybe becoming more physical, especially with a romantic interest with Mars in the fifth house. Taking things to the next level, becoming more intimate as well with them as well. The eighth house is also the house of transformation. This full moon may put a lot of emphasis on that, because the ruler of the full moon, Venus, is transiting your first house, and it's going to go direct on the same day. But it's going to be in a conjunction to Saturn, in a conjunction to the North Node and Mercury, all in the sign of Pisces. Meaning that you are transforming your identity, you are setting the right boundaries with other people, with other individuals. But this full moon in the eighth house of transformation might be helping you even more. Especially because most of you Pisces will want to express yourself more freely, more openly with Mars in the fifth house. You might want to, be more raw in your own self-expression and be accepted by other people in the way how you are, in the way how you see the world, in the way how you enjoy yourself, but also in your character and your personality. So that's why this full moon might bring that sort of transformation that of course is not easy. And the reason why it's not easy because it isn't an opposition to Chiron. And Chiron is the planet that, or not a planet, but is the one that will bring to the surface those deep rooted wounds, you know. And that's why the energy is not easy. If you are embracing transformation, you first have to bring all these shadow parts into the surface. Clear yourselves from any wounds from the past, any insecurities, self-sabotaging patterns, traumas, things that people have done to you maybe in the past. You may bring those things to the surface and decide that the only way to transformation is by understanding these things and realizing that you're a completely separate individual from your traumas and emotional difficulties that you've had in the past. Venus in conjunction to Saturn might be helping you separate yourselves from these difficult emotions that are not easy to deal with, at the emotional level. Now, the eighth house is also the house of financial partnerships, but I want to mention that if you have shared resources and finances with one of your children, then you might have some clashes here, maybe some disagreements with Mars in the fifth house of your children. And you might want to set boundaries in place and build some structures regarding or related to the finances and resources that you have with them as well. All in all, this full moon might make you feel very empowered, Pisces, especially if you decide to embrace self-expression, if you decide to express the raw self of you with Mars in the fifth house. If you are in the industry of making money through other people's money, then you may feel very driven to put in your own creative skills and creative abilities, which we know you are so good at. And you might have this desire to impose these creative skills and abilities that you have to be able to increase your money making, making money through other people's money, basically. What else? I talked about the ruler of the full moon, Venus, being in your first house, going direct, which I think is very good news, especially for you as Pisces. I feel like a lot of you are resetting your whole life with all these planets in your first house, but most importantly, you are understanding your own worth, and you're understanding that you have to set certain boundaries with other people. Now, this full moon, I think, is going to help you mostly in setting boundaries with your own shadow part. It's also going to help you build structures regarding intimacy and your romantic life as well, but also your finances. Your focus is also in there. Okay, Pisces, I wish you the best of luck with this full moon. Please let me know in the comments down below. What do you expect from this? There's a lot of other Pisces that would love to learn from you and share their experiences with you as well. If you want to show some support for my work, you can like, subscribe, and share this video with people that you think are going to benefit from this. I wish you the best of luck, and I'll see you on the next one.